Leanne Watanabe is a 44-year-old born and bred Hawaiian, changing the conversation around aging and body positivity in an industry where many view her own body as damaged. As a woman, a small business owner, and a personal trainer, and now an Ostomate, Leanne's mission is clear. Chasing perfection is pointless. Let me show you a different way. I give you Leanne with her speaking topic. Your body is your business.
Good morning, everybody near and far, in and out of Hawaii. Thank you for that great intro. I'm super excited. I'm just going to preface this with parental advisory, explicit lyric content. So I just want to set that up first. But here we go. So let me start. Thank you for having me. Pretty woman, wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. And of course, that was a great passage by Maya Angelou. So, in a recent interview with Oprah Winfrey, Adele was asked if her newfound increased confidence was related to her weight loss. Now, if you don't know, Adele, or rather Lori Blue Adkins by birth, is one of the world's best-selling singers and songwriters. But most recently, she started making headlines with her dramatic weight loss at the end of 2019. Not for her talent, her career accolades, her being a wife, a mother, or even now a recent divorcee. Nope. Adele turned heads literally at Drake's birthday party back in October 2021 with her new svelte frame. Since when is it anybody's fucking business about what's going on with our body? Oh, but she's famous, Leanne. You sign up for that sort of thing when you become a celebrity. It's what you may be thinking. And yeah, that's a little bit true. But celeb status aside, I bet every one of us in this room can relay one too many stories of people, strangers, family near and far, friends close and otherwise, catapulting their personal ideas and comments about our bodies. Our bodies. Not their bodies, but ours. You've gained some weight. What's wrong, Leanne? Wow, you've lost weight. You look amazing, Leanne. I'm doing that thing. You know that diet where you only eat food starting with the letter B? I think Adele did that diet. We should do it together, Leanne. Why are you trying to lose weight? Don't you love yourself just the way you are? You are losing weight. You must not like who you are. When did we allow all these thugs, yeah, let's just call them what they are, the right to comment on the skin we are living in, right? Is this what we call freedom of speech? For me, it came with the territory of being born to a teenage mom who hated her body. As her firstborn, she fixated on mine. And as a helpless child, you don't have the right to speak up, to protest, to exert your boundary. In Hawaiian culture, or rather probably in any culture, do as your mother says and respect your elders. Leanne, my mom would call out, you have such a pretty face. Just lose some weight. Sweetie, there's mom again. Don't wear that shirt as I can see your spare tire. And then she rallied my dad into the bullying. He sat me down. He's like, Your mother and I, we were thinking, if we gave you $1 a pound for each pound lost, you think that would motivate you to lose some weight? We can't find anything for you to wear. You don't fit into junior sizes. Aren't you frustrated about that? Even at almost 45 years old now, those comments have been forever tattooed in my brain. Did my parents realize that I would spend over 20 years chasing a size, a look, a beauty standard as a means to feel loved and worthy and good enough? No, they didn't realize that, but it happened. Your body is nobody's fucking business. If you want to maintain weight, you want to lose weight, you want to change your body, be as is, do nothing at all, eat certain food, not eat certain food, exercise, don't exercise. Your body is nobody's fucking business. So I want to empower you with this. Don't just stand in your body, but I want you to instead stand up for your body. And I know it's hard, right? Because we live in a society filled with so many contradictory messages. And isn't it a shame that as women, we've come to expect unsolicited, inappropriate comments from strangers as just the norm? I want to remind you of this. Don't waste another minute of your precious life tiptoeing around those that make you feel uncomfortable when they say uncomfortable things to you about your body. Don't waste another second feeling uncomfortable about something someone else said to you about your body. Right? Enough is enough. Your body is your business. And you don't necessarily have to be nice, polite, or quiet about it any longer. So how do we handle this, right? Unsolicited comments about our bodies from people that we know, people that we even really, really love, maybe strangers. Most times we don't even want to deal with that, right? We don't like conflict. We want to shut it down, and we usually just brush it off with a thank you or okay. But I think we need to flip it and think about it like this. For starters, let's stop thanking people for making us feel bad, right? Saying thanks, sure, that's the fastest and easiest way to shut down that subject, but it also reinforces to other people that they have a right to comment, to say these things to us about our bodies that really hurt us every time it happens. We would be better off just ignoring the comments altogether or change the subject instead of endorsing them with the, well, thanks, thank you, okay. In my experience, I've found honesty is the best policy. And if we really think about it deep down, a reasonable person will not be offended if we say something like this. I know you mean well, but your comments about my body or my weight, how I look, they bother me. And I wish you wouldn't make them. Or even more directly, we can just shut it down and say, hey, let's skip my body as the subject for conversation today. It makes me uncomfortable. In any sense, I know it's a tough conversation to have, but remember, you're allowed to be upfront and straight with people and to set your own boundary. And your feelings are justified. So let me leave you with this little gem from my all-time favorite author, Brene Brown. Brene says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. We can't base our own worthiness on others' approval. Only when we believe deep down that we are enough can we say enough. And remember, if you can, say it with me now, my body is nobody's fucking business. Thank you.
Woohoo! Let's all unmute and give a big wahoo for Leanne and her share today.
Awesome.
Hey,
Amazing. Wow.
If you got some benefit today from Leanne's speech, which was so powerful, please show her some love in the chat. We want to show her some love. And I want to, first of all, Leanne is a fitness and nutrition coach. Who here has ever heard a fitness or nutrition coach talk like that before? That is
yeah, that's right.
So freaking powerful.
The common question I hear,
So
and also just
powerful.
a comment that I get from several clients.
Amazing. Awesome. So Leanne,
Yes.
Leanne, tell us about your free gift. And I saw that Diana put the information in the chat.
Yeah, so my free gift is always a discovery call, coaching call, and I really just like to network and meet with people from all over the place. You know, whether it's you want to call me up and you want to be like, can you show me what Hawaii weather looks like outside and chat? But I'm just all about expanding my network and my friendships, and also spreading the message that beauty is literally it's inside job, right? People hire me to work on food and fitness, and I always come from an approach of mindset piece first, because it really starts on the inside. Like, why are we doing this thing, and how can we do this thing in the most safe and sound way? And so that's, you know, I'm looking to create more relationships moving into 2022.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Leanne.
Yeah.
If anybody
and I just wanted to put I know a lot of people don't know, like my intro is kind of confusing for some in terms of, oh, my body's damaged or whatever. I have an ostomy. An ostomy is a medical appliance. I had to have colon removal surgery in 2015. So I'm a no colon, still rolling coach. And so a lot of people think that's a handicap or a deterrent, and I've just learned to totally rock it out. So I help to empower women to basically, like I said, through mindset, macros, and muscles, love the skin they're already in.
Woohoo! I love that. Let's cheer Leanne on again for just showing up so authentically.
Thank you, Leanne.
Love that. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. If anybody has any questions for Leanne, I invite you to put them into the chat. And I know that Diana has a question for you. Diana, what's your question for Leanne?
Leanne, it sounds like, and I think many of us can relate to having things said to us when we were younger that taught us that our bodies weren't safe or that they weren't good enough. What are some of the ways that you've used to help you heal and release some of those old beliefs, those patterns of negative thinking that, you know, like you said, you're kind of seared into your brain?
Yeah, you know, I think it took me a really long time. I did every single emotional distraction you could probably think of, chasing that sort of aesthetic goal in terms of like extreme dieting and extreme working out and all that. I think number one was therapy was a game changer for me, to talk to a third party person who can see outside of my narrative. When you're in it, it's such a hard thing to see your way out of. Like you always feel like only one way. This is the way, and this is how it has to be, and that's the only way to like happiness or acceptance or self-love. So therapy, I always recommend therapy to people if they have the means. Another thing too is actually. And not only, I think it only started in the last, I would say 5 years, is the real big piece on boundaries. I hate conflict, especially in the local Hawaii culture. Just kind of brush it under the rug. You know, you talk to your mom about how a comment made you feel. She's like, oh, you too sensitive. But establishing my boundaries with people both close to me, family and friends, and doing some of those things where just alerting and it didn't start with like, oh, don't say that to me, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It started very small in terms of like me working up my own courage to say like, hey, look, what you said to me, it made me feel a certain way, and I know you didn't mean it that way, but I just want to let you know how I took taking it. So I would appreciate it if we can, you know, maybe not do that anymore. That has helped, especially with my mom. I think that was the biggest thing. It's been always a long time battle with her and how you look. And now I'm able to be in a nice place where I can say like, call her out on her BS, so to speak. And she will try her best. As for the rest, try her best. And then, you know, but I think for me, it's just the fact that when you can at least stand up for yourself a little bit and have at least say something back, to that person who's making you feel a certain way versus just bottling it up. I think that's a little step too internally to be like, okay, like I can do this. Like I'm getting the courage to do this more, right? And it's not me being a baby or whining about it or, we always have a way, I think, of pushing our feelings down or kind of excusing them away as us being hypersensitive or overreacting, I think. So, that helps too. Boundaries and therapy.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I love that you said start small. Start in your comfort zone. Start with what feels okay to you in that moment to say or do, or even to think about later. And then progress from there. That's really beautiful. So we had a question go into the chat. What was your turning point in standing up for yourself? Like, when did you start to stand up for yourself? And was there an event that helped you make that turning point?
Oh my God, I didn't start. Unfortunately, I wish I could say that there wasn't. I wish I could say that I had grown up and eventually saw the light. But it really took me over 20 years of pretty much, I call it self-mutilation through dieting and exercise to kind of realize that I could not do what I was doing and using those things any longer to kind of help me. Like I needed to find my worth and my stock in something else. And it was actually, I've talked about it to you guys before, but I miscarried identical twin boys at 5 months. And that was my breaking point. I'm healthy. I was so naive about pregnancy, and when those things happen, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just something that happens. And usually when I have a devastating life event happen to me, my two main addictions were diet and exercise. Restrict food, go race an Ironman. Restrict food, go race an ultramarathon. And that worked for a really long time until I had this event. And it was so devastating for me, to be honest. Like, it was such pain. I could not exercise and diet myself out of it. And I had to really sit and I had to go through it. And it took about 2 years of deep depression and feeling hopeless and a lost cause, and then also going the other extreme and trying to find every reason, why did this happen to me? Did I do something wrong? Going to every doctor and taking every test to try and rationalize this event. And at the end of it, when I started to kind of finally come out of the fog, the haze, I was like, there's a better way. There has to be a better way for me. I can't go on like this any longer. So that was kind of my turning point. So now I try to help women see that they can come out before hitting sort of like a rock bottom, right? Before going through all the body self-loathing and body self-mutilation in this way with food and fitness, before they get to that point. Art.
Thank you, Leanne. Who here, put your hand up or put it in the chat, has ever used diet and exercise and really pushing beyond what is healthy for you as a distraction from really challenging circumstances in life? Kiki, I see your hand up. Yeah, I think it's really, really common. And not only in women, but in men too, and non-binary individuals, to use that as a way of distracting and feeling like if we're putting our energy into that place, then we're doing something, even if the thing that we're doing is very unhealthy for us. So, Leanne, I saw the question go into the chat. Do you only work with local clients?
No, I actually work with clients from all over. I do a lot of my coaching now virtually. Thank you, COVID. I had to pivot. But so I see clients both locally in person, but 90% of my practice is online virtually. Mm-hmm. And I want to just preface it with, food and fitness is sort of gray because I seriously had a food and fitness addiction, but because it was a healthy addiction, it goes below the radar unless you're severely anorexic or, there's blaring in your face issues in terms of how you look, and that can be related to like, wow, you know, you're not eating or you're exercising too much. But I come from a family of addiction, and that was like my drug of choice, and for a really long time it worked, and then it didn't, and then I had to, you know, really get my mindset piece around where I was expending all this energy and for what reason. So that was the inside work, or it's an inside job that I talked about earlier in the presentation.
Absolutely. And Diana put the name of that, orthorexia,
Yes.
in the chat. And I also want to say that it's really common to have addictions around things that are societally acceptable. So, you know, one of the things that I've really worked on is, you know, not gambling for credit, not overworking myself in my job. You know, it's so normal for entrepreneurs to overwork themselves. It's kind of like a societally accepted addiction almost sometimes for some people. And so, you know, really being mindful and aware of that. So I know that Diana has one more question for you, and then we're going to go on a bio break.